stray. A simple world where love would bloom in every corner of the living room. Oh, the golden thread, it ties us tight through black and white into the light. A reel of love, it's always there. Classic moments beyond compare.
Welcome back to The Golden Thread, Lessons from Classic TV. These episodes are brought to you by the Classic TV Preservation Society, founded by Herbie J. Pilato. There are some television shows we remember because they made us laugh. Others stay with us because they gave us adventure, mystery, or escape. Then, there are the rare programs that seemed to look directly through the screen and speak to something inside us. Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood was one of those shows. For more than 3 decades, Fred Rogers welcomed children into a quiet television home where nothing seemed hurried. He entered through the door, changed into a cardigan, traded his dress shoes for sneakers, and began speaking as though there were only one person watching. Not an audience, but one person. That was part of his extraordinary gift. Fred Rogers never treated children as if their thoughts were unimportant simply because they were young. He understood that a child's fear could feel enormous, that loneliness could hurt deeply, and that questions about the world could be difficult to carry alone. He didn't dismiss those feelings. He made room for them. That may be why so many people who grew up with the program still feel comforted by it today. The neighborhood had a rhythm all its own. The trolley moved us from Fred's familiar home into the neighborhood of make-believe, where the characters often expressed emotions that children might struggle to name. Daniel Striped Tiger could be shy and uncertain. King Friday 13th was proud, authoritative, and sometimes convinced that his way was the only way. Lady Elaine Fairchild could be difficult, outspoken, and wonderfully unpredictable. X the Owl was thoughtful and curious. Henrietta Pussycat brought her own gentle charm to every conversation. And then there was Lady Aberlin. Played by Betty Aberlin, Lady Aberlin brought warmth and quiet steadiness to the neighborhood of make-believe. She was often the person who listened when others were upset. She could speak honestly without being harsh, and she had a way of helping people feel understood even when she didn't have an easy solution. Lady Aberlin was not loud or commanding. Her strength came from presence. She showed that kindness could be active, intelligent, and brave. That mattered because Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood never pretended that life was always easy. Fred talked about hard things. He talked about anger. He talked about divorce, death, disability, war, jealousy, and fear. He addressed events that many adults might have preferred to avoid. He didn't do it to frighten children. He did it because children were already aware that frightening things existed. What they needed was someone trustworthy enough to help them make sense of those feelings. Fred Rogers believed honesty and gentleness could exist together. That idea became one of the show's greatest strengths. He never confused gentleness with weakness. Fred was not naive about the world either. He understood cruelty. He understood grief. He understood how easily people people, especially children, could feel invisible. His response was not to become louder or harder. He chose care. That choice required courage. It's easy to react in anger. It's easy to dismiss someone when their feelings make us uncomfortable too. It's much harder to remain present, listen carefully, and respond without trying to overpower them. Fred Rogers practiced that kind of courage every day. The program also taught us to slow down. Fred allowed silence. He let a thought remain in the air for a moment. He gave children time to consider what he had said. You could see it in his pauses. It was just beautiful artwork. Today, that pace can feel almost unfamiliar entirely. We are surrounded by noise, quick reactions, and constant demands for attention. Mr. Rogers' neighborhood offered something different. It offered space. Space to think, space to feel, space to become. That may be the golden thread running through the entire series. Every person has value. Not because they're successful and not because they're talented, but because they have earned approval. They have value because they are human. Fred often reminded children that they were special just as they were. That didn't mean that they never made mistakes. It didn't mean that they had nothing to learn, but it meant their worth did not disappear when they were frightened, angry, confused, or imperfect. And that's a powerful lesson for children. It may be an even more difficult lesson for adults. How many people spend their lives believing that they must prove that they deserve love? How many hide their fear because they think vulnerability makes them weak? How many feel they have become someone else before they are worthy of acceptance? Fred Rogers offered another possibility. He suggested that growth begins when people feel safe enough to be honest. Lady Aberlin reflected that same spirit. She listened before she judged. She comforted without condescension. She showed that compassion is not merely a feeling. It's something that we practice. Perhaps that's why the neighborhood still feels so important. The sets were simple. The trolley was small. The puppets were handmade. There was no attempt to overwhelm the viewer. The power came from sincerity. A man in a cardigan believed that children mattered. A woman named Lady Aberlin helped make the neighborhood feel safe and welcoming. A collection of imperfect characters showed that difficult feelings did not make anyone unworthy of love. Together, they created a place where gentleness was not treated as weakness. It was treated as strength. And maybe that is the neighborhood we're still searching for. A place where people listen. A place where honesty is met with care, or a place where kindness is not dismissed as softness, but recognized as courage. And that's the golden thread, guys. I love you all very much. Go out there and pass that on, all right? Later, Gators. Bye-bye.
Walking down the lanes of yesterday, where laughter echoes and hearts don't stray. A